Hey, it's Rob, and today I'm excited to talk to you about one of my favorite video games, Slay the Spire. The game successfully combines elements from deck builders and roguelikes into a unique and addicting combination. After choosing your starting character, you're given a deck consisting of mainly strikes and defends, plus a few cards specific to that character. You're thrown into a dungeon, and your job is to survive as long as possible. You're fighting through procedurally generated rooms, climbing your way through 3 separate acts filled with random enemies, unique encounters, and of course, bosses. Choose a path in the tower, and you're sent to your first fight. At the start of your turn, you draw a hand of 5 cards and have a set amount of energy to play those cards. Play out your hand as you wish, and then it's the enemy's turn. You'll know in advance what they're going to do, so you're able to plan your turns accordingly. Enemies will follow the same play patterns every time you encounter them. To find success in the Spire, you'll need to learn what to expect from the various enemy types and how to best interact with them. After you hopefully win the fight, you're able to pick one of 3 possible cards to add to your deck for future fights. Elite and boss fights will also present you with a random relic that provides a powerful effect. Besides offering new cards and relics, winning fights also rewards you with gold that can be spent at shops to buy additional relics, cards, or even removing cards from your deck. You'll also encounter random events that run the gamut of asking you to trade health for a powerful card, obtaining rare relics, or even negative events that can result in curse cards being added to your deck. At the end of each act, there's a boss fight you must win to proceed to the next act. There are only a handful of bosses you can encounter, and you'll know which one you'll be facing ahead of time, so you can start to prepare for it early in the run. The enemies here are all well designed and more than just your generic dungeon crawler fodder. Most enemies are strong enough to kill you if you're unprepared. For example, one of the first elites you encounter is the Gremlin Knob. The correct strategy here is to try to kill him as quickly as possible, and actually just take the hits from him in the meantime. Playing block cards makes him stronger and ends up dragging out the fight. While climbing the spire, just slinging your cards around will spell certain death, from the lowliest minion and definitely the bosses. Early in your experience with the game, you will lose a lot, or at least I did. This game is hard, but I like a game with a challenge. I'm not sure how many times I played before I finally slayed the final boss, and it wasn't until some time later I found out there's actually a 4th secret boss, and I've actually only beaten once in my almost 100 hours of total gameplay. Each character has some basic strategies you can pursue, but everything you do in Slay the Spire is contextual. What cards are being presented? What's already in your deck? What enemies do you expect to fight in the near future? Do you have the tools necessary to make it to the next campfire? What relics do you have? Although certain cards are more powerful than others, every card has its place.
The important thing is that every card's doing something and that they're all reasonable to take a certain percentage of the time. What we're striving for, ultimately with Slay the Spire, is a diversity of strategies and playstyles.
Take a look at this relic. As you can imagine, this is going to drastically change what cards to prioritize and how you play out your fights. Because the game provides a lot of challenge and every run through the Spire is genuinely unique, learning how to win is extremely satisfying. If you know what to look for, you can do crazy stuff like this. And since this game is normally so hard, getting these combos to come together and cruising through the Spire feels great. But even if you build an insane combo that smashes through your enemies, it's highly unlikely you'll be able to assemble that exact combination again. There's a deep card pool, lots of random relics, and even the enemies you see will change. And once you think you've mastered a character, there are 3 others to dive into with wildly different playstyles and strategies. On top of that, once you beat the game with a character, you unlock a progressive difficulty system called Ascension. It goes all the way up to Ascension level 20, each being slightly harder than the last. In Slay the Spire, losing is kind of the point. It's the learning process, the sense of discovery, and ultimately mastery that makes this card game so much damn fun. And if the main mode isn't enough to keep your interest, there are daily runs with strange modifiers that completely change the incentives for deck building and can lead to some pretty wacky combinations. You can also create your own unique runs to experiment with. If you're a fan of turn-based strategy games, card games, or dungeon crawlers, there's something here for you. Be prepared for a challenge and enjoy learning to overcome the innumerable obstacles you'll face in the Spire. I recorded this on PC, but the game is available on every major gaming platform, including mobile. Go check it out.